PhotoWaka conference happening. Good morning, everybody. My name is Gussie Toby Lord Williams, but you can call me Lord T. And I want to officially welcome you to day 3 of the PhotoWaka conference. Today is going to be absolutely amazing because it is World Photography Day. Guys, when I heard this morning, I was literally jumping up and down. I'm so excited because we're rounding up this program, this amazing program today that is World Photography Day. I see some amazing people in the comment sections already dropping gems. If you are excited about this, please in the comment section, put some fire, put some fire, put some fire. We need to turn up today because photography is taking most of us around the world, and I'm so excited that we're having this session today. Yes, it is World Photography Day. Good to have everybody here. So quick one, if you're just joining in, please make sure that you're sharing to your friends, send the links to them, share with them. If you're joining us from YouTube, Facebook, invite your friends. Everybody needs to be here right about now, wherever they are. If they're in Lagos traffic, if they're in Uganda, if they're in Ghana, if they're in Kano, wherever it is that they are, please send them the link. Let them come and join us. We're going to have an amazing time learning, interacting, and above all, we're going to be having fun today. So real quick, I told you earlier, my name is Gussie Toby Lord Williams. I'm a lawyer here in Lagos, Nigeria. But I also run a voluntary network called Girl Hub Africa. And today I'm going to be moderating this amazing session today, centered on the Sustainable Development Goals, which is why I'm so excited about this. So real quick, I'm going to say again, share with your friends, share with your friends. We're just 9 minutes away from 10 a.m. We are just starting, so quickly share it to them so they can come in ASAP. We have all our speakers, they are ready to give us packed value today for your time. So you're not going to be wasting your time with us today. You're going to be getting a whole lot more back and even more. That is our brand promise at PhotoWaka. So make sure that you're sharing to them. So real quick, I would just like us to introduce our speakers. And we have an amazing introductory video that's going to play on your screen right now. Yes, I know some of you are going to be like, wow, I know, right? Yes. So yes, please back end, if you don't mind, kindly play our videos for our amazing speakers that are going to be joining us shortly. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet this Etty and Godwin Akpan. Etty Godwin Akpan is a multi-award-winning visual storyteller and communications expert with a difference. One who is passionate about capacity building for budding photographers in Africa and also helping to build brands across the continent. He is the Chief Executive Officer at the Sir Yena Company, a renowned media house located in Lagos, Nigeria. He is also the founder and Executive Director of Africa's largest photo community, PhotoWaka Africa. He recently founded the Desire Agency, a public relations and communications agency, where its focus is helping them connect with the right audience through strategic communication, proper crisis management, and storytelling. Between 2018, he served as the lead photographer for the community of the United Nations Foundation. He is also a member of the African Photojournalism Database and professional photographers. Sir Iyena has been commissioned for projects and corporate organizations like the Kwara State Government, UN, Olusegun Obasanjo presidential license, Sterling Bank, Guinness Nigeria, Adex Petroleum Nigeria, and many others. He was the official photographer who documented the 2018 World Cup tour in Nigeria that was sponsored by Coca-Cola. He has been featured on some of Nigeria's foremost newspapers, the Tribune newspaper, Business Day, Guardian newspaper, among others, and his works have been published in both local and international platforms. He is also a contributor to the Spark Social Media for Social Good Award 2020, and in less than 2 years, United Nations officially partnered with PhotoWaka Africa in March 2020. Sir Iyene was also a nominee for the 2020 Forbes Africa 30 Under 30. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome to one of the speakers during the PhotoWaka Africa Virtual Summit in commemoration to the World Photography Day 2020. Etty and Godwin Akbar. Gentlemen, Dr. Oluseyi Shoremekun holds a PhD in Development Communication from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria. The communication expert with over 30 years of uninterrupted experience, marketing communication, corporate communication, development communication, and public information. He is the National Information Officer of the United Nations Information Center in Nigeria, a field office of the Department of Global Communication, UN Secretary in New York. Prior to his position, he was National Program Officer for Media Information at UNESCO Nigeria, Head of Communication at the Nigerian Red Cross Society, General Manager, Simba Telecom Nigeria, Chief Operating Officer, Rock Shield Communication, National Sales Manager, Quick Connect, Associate Director, Data Copy at Match, among others. Dr. Shoremekun holds communication degree from the University of Ibadan, a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of Calabar, and a higher national diploma in mass communication, Ogun State Polytechnic, now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, Abeokuta. He has attended conferences in the UK, US, and Switzerland, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome during the PhotoWaka Africa Virtual Summit in Commercial Photography Day 2020, Dr. Oluseyi Shoremekun. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the speaker, Lekon Fatodu. Lekon Fatodu is the Senior Special Assistant on Sustainable Development to the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Reputable development expert and communication strategist, has over 18 years of experience in the area of international development, strategic communication, and diplomacy, guarded through his engagement in global actions, focusing on the common good in different parts of the world, particularly his illustrious undertakings in the third sector, social entrepreneurship in the UK and Nigeria. Notable for pro-people causes and extensive global network, Fatodu has been facilitating greater support initiatives from the international development space to Africa and Nigeria in particular, thereby opening up the country to invaluable skills and resources that will enable it to confront its development challenges. His numerous positive and exemplary endeavors, Fatodu has received many recognition and awards. Fatodu was the recipient of the Most Outstanding Entrepreneur Award by Strides Media UK in 2011 and was awarded an exemplary public endeavor of Lagos Alumni Association, Lagos State Chapter in 2013, amongst other honors. Fatodu is a graduate of the University of Lagos, Nigeria, where he had mass communication. He also attended London for his meeting
He is also a Prince 2 certified project management practitioner from the UK.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the speakers during the virtual summit in commemoration to the World Photography Day,
Leko Fatobi.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the speaker, Tony Patrick Cole. Tony Patrick Cole, an alumnus of the University of Lagos and Harvard Business School, and currently part of the Transformational Leadership Fellowship Program at the Blavatnik School of Government, Oxford. He is the co-founder and former Group Executive Director of Sahara Group and Energy Operations in Africa and beyond. Passionate about social impacts and governance, Mr. Cole spearheaded the Sahara Foundation, which supports the actualization of the UN SDGs. He is the founder of the NGI Youth Initiative, which aims to influence change. He also established the Behavioral Health Institute, set up for the study and management of behavioral health issues in Nigeria. He is an active supporter of the Down Syndrome Foundation, the School Foundation, the Compassion. In September of 2018, Mr. Cole made a life change to a career political narrative. December 2019, New African named Mr. Cole amongst the speaker, writer, teacher, and mentor. He is married to Dr. Sylvia Cole, and they have 3 adult children. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the speakers to PhotoWaka Africa Virtuals of Information to World Photography 2020, Tony Patrick Cole.
Watch that, and it was literally amazing. That was awesome. I was literally screaming just now with the amazing packed speakers that we have for this awesome session today. I am screaming. I'm sure you're screaming as well, like, what? How did we get all these amazing people? This is awesome. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. So today, we're just going to dive right into it because we don't intend wasting your time. We just want to get onto it and give you as much value. Our session today, we're going to be focusing on the topic, how the achievement of sustainable development goals rather can help in reframing the African narrative. And if you remember, the PhotoWaka conference is focusing on reframing the African narrative generally, and the focus for today is on the sustainable development goals. We are grateful to have the amazing Leko Fatodu, who is the SSA to the Lagos State government on sustainable development goals. Who else should we be bringing on this kind of panel, if not somebody that is an authority in that field? It's amazing to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And real quick, we're just going to also welcome another of our guests. Awesome. We have Dr. Sheyi in the building. Dr. Sheyi, thank you so much for joining us as well. You look amazing. Oh, I see the United Nations flag. You're ready for us today. Good to have you here, sir, as well. Real quick, everybody. So, in another 1 hour, actually less than 1 hour, Mr. Tony Patrick Cole is going to be joining us. He already sent in a message. He's currently in transit. He will join us in less than 1 hour. But real quick, we're going to dive right into it. Hello to Mr. Nyene, our amazing host as well. So quickly, my first question is going to Mr. Leko Fatodu. Mr. Leko, can you hear me loud and clear? Awesome, awesome. So my first question to you is, I know that, everybody talks about the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, flying around here and there. But before we even begin to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, Do we as a country or Africa as a continent, do we even have goals in the first place? Because it just seems like we're coming from somewhere and we're headed nowhere. I know that there is the sustainable development goals, but do we have goals as a country and Africa as a whole?
Thank you very much. I will start by thanking the organizers of this important event, which is focused on reframing the narratives of Africa. There is no better time to address this issue by this moment. Within the last couple of years, or perhaps about 5 years ago, if we are very observant, we will see that there was a narrative coming from Africa around Africa rising. There's another one speaking about the entrepreneurship capacity of Africans, and also as well as our inherent capacity, um, our ability, our resilience and determination to face any challenge. So this event speaks so much about the determination of Africans to take their future by their hands. There is a popular African, adage that says that the lion, until the lion learns to ride, the story of hunting will continue to glorify the hunter. In this context, we are the lion. In other contexts, our paternalistic, offshore directors and supporters, they are the hunters. But right now, with Photo Africa, we are seeing images, we are seeing conversation, we are seeing narratives that continue to point to the fact that we will continue to write our own story. And we can effectively write this story from the lens or from the lenses of everyone around here. So I'm very proud and privileged to be part of this, meeting. Moving forward, you asked about goals. We definitely have goals in Africa and in Nigeria. What perhaps we are lacking is the commitment of leaders and the required keys to bring those goals to implementation. Number one, for instance, Nigeria, amongst the 17 goals of the SDGs, Nigeria as a country is passionate about 7: inclusive economy, eradication of poverty, gender equality, education. There's no better time to discuss about health and education than this moment where COVID-19 has affected our educational system, where everybody is moving to the direction of digital engagement like we are having at this moment. I'm in the car because of the acceptance of the government. I can still be able to engage at this moment. And I'm sure that many people across the world is also seeing how we are changing the narrative with our exceptional adoption of technology in making life easier for us. So my conclusion is the fact around that subject is the fact that we have goals, but we need competent hands. We need people of character. We need people who are really committed to the common goal of people. Like the SDG is also talking about shared prosperity and how we can make our planet better. We all need to galvanize all these efforts, just like Wakana is doing, looking around the length and breadth of the society to bring on board people people that will help us to bring many of these goals to realization. So we have goals, but we can do better by bringing these goals to realization by engaging people who are really go-getters and who are driven by goals and purpose. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That was so amazing. I like that you talked about competent hands and character. And I like in the beginning that you also mentioned technology. I mean, you did justice to that. Thank you so much. Real quick, I'm going to go to Dr. Oluwaseyi Shoremeko. I know that the topic today is focused on sustainable development goals, and the amazing people we have here, they've been hearing it, but some of them don't really understand it. So let's break it down for them. To the layman, what exactly is the sustainable development goals? Kindly unmute yourself, Dr. Shoremeko, please. Unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. It's really great to be part of this. And I want to thank the management and staff of PhotoWaka for putting this together. Because when we talk of sustainable development goals, we're talking about individual actions. When we talk of sustainable development, we all know is a 15-year framework, which started January 2016, having been adopted in September 2015. And 5 years have gone. So we are in the last decade of achieving the sustainable development goals. So this we call the decade of action. So talking about action, we are happy that PhotoWaka has taken an individual action, which we are trusting we accumulate and cascade into an impactful result. Talking about sustainable development goal, I want to thank my brother Lekon for that wonderful intervention concerning the goals of Africa as well as the global goals. I just want to add, yes, before I go straight into the sustainable development goals, because there are areas of convergence between sustainable development goals, which are in number 17 of them of goals. We call them global goals. However, Africa has its own development framework. And the African development framework is the Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 is an equivalent, is a regional equivalent of Agenda 2030, which is Agenda 2030 for sustainable development, which is the global goals. The African Agenda 2063 was declared in 2013 at the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the African Union. And it is important to note that there are 7 aspirations for Africa. 7 aspirations for Africa as contained in that agenda for sustainable development in Africa. The first one is to have a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. The second one is to have an integrated African continent, which is politically united and based on the ideas of Pan-Africanism. The third one is an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law. The fourth aspiration under the African Agenda 2063 is a peaceful and secured Africa. The aspiration number 5 has to do with an Africa with a strong cultural diversity, common heritage, shared values, ethics, and so on and so forth. The 6th one has to do with development that is based on people-driven development and relying on the potential of African people, especially women, youth, and then also caring for the children. And the last aspiration, which we can call the goal, has to do with a strong Africa, united, resilient, and influential global player and partner. Now, if you look at these 7 aspirations and juxtapose these 7 goals of the African Union vis-a-vis the African, the member states of the African sub-region, African region rather, with the 17 goals of the sustainable development of sustainable development, the Agenda 2030, you will see there are areas of convergence, because the African goal, if it's achieved, Nigeria is a member state of Africa, then if Nigeria can achieve that, then Africa is achieving. Now, what do we mean by sustainable development? We need to understand something. Development, by saying development, is different from sustainable development. And that I want to emphasize. Sustainable development is a kind of development that meets the needs of the present generation
Oh my goodness.
without compromising the
Praise the Lord.
ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. Let's watch that. The ability of the present generation to meet their own needs without compromising the future needs of the coming generation. So what that means is that in whatever we do, we must factor in the generations to come. How are we using the environment? What is our relationship with Mother Earth? Are we taking care of Mother Earth? Because if we don't take care of Mother Earth, which is also part of the environment aspect, then the future generation will suffer. If we keep polluting the ocean, not only that our generation will suffer, the coming generation will also suffer, because we will deplete the ocean resources and also destroy the aquatic ecology. So that is what we are talking about. Sustainable development must take care of the future. And we have this framework, 17 goals, 169 targets. It cuts across. It cuts across the countries of the world, the developed countries, the developing countries. So is a global development framework. It's not for the poor countries, or no, is it for the rich countries? It's for all of us.
Wow, awesome. I feel like screaming right now. Please, in the comment section, I want to see thumbs up. I want to see you clapping, because he has really broken this down. Going from telling us that sustainable development goals, the SDGs as we know it, it's not just development, but something sustainable, generational, thinking of our generation. And I like that you also brought about the agenda for Africa, Agenda 2063, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, juxtaposing it to the Sustainable Development Goals, we can see that they are intertwined, they are goals that are aligned. And if Africa, just like you said it's an individual action. And for Africa, we have the global goals, which are 17, and you just mentioned 7, which means everybody has a place. You must see one way go fit you, Sha. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for breaking it down and giving us the 7 goals that you just mentioned. So guys, I'm sure if you didn't know about it before, he has just given us vast dose of value right now. Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Inyene, I'm coming to you right now, because I know that today is World Photography Day, and I see people in the comment sections are going crazy, like, oh my God, they are awesome, they are having fun, World Photography Day. But I want to ask you, how can photography play a key role in achieving these SDGs? I know that we talk a lot about SDGs, and people don't see photography much in being a part of the Sustainable Development Goals or being a key part of it. So how can photography really help in achieving these goals, as well as the goals that Dr. Sheyi mentioned, please?
All right. Thank you very much for that question, Toby. Thank you so much, Dr. Sheyi. Thank you, Mr. Lekan. When Dr. Sheyi was speaking, and I was like, you can't expect less from a doctor. And I was just enjoying his session and everything. And back to your question, I believe photography play a very huge role in the Sustainable Development Goal. First, I would say photography is a channel of communication. There's this popular quote that says, a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. And also, for us to really achieve these Sustainable Development Goals, not just as achieving it, for us to pass that information to other people, I believe photography, play a very key role there. First, we as human beings, we are visually more connected than words and other means of communication and all. So to create more awareness about the Sustainable Development Goal, first, awareness, comes before taking action. Now we are in a decade of action, but believe me, some people or most people are still not aware about the Sustainable Development Goals. to create more awareness about these sustainable development goals, I believe this is where photography comes into play, because through that, it drives action. And when actions, are being taken, like we see these, sustainable changes in our various communities and, in the world at large. For example, we want to know, like, photography addresses all the 17 goals, depending on how you want to tell that story. Like, if you ask me now, how can photography end hunger? I can give you the ABC of how photography can do that. How can photography end unemployment? We can do that. Sustainable cities and tourism, like these things, photography play a huge role depending on the angle you are trying to tell these stories from. So I believe, by God's grace, through the partnership with the United Nations Nigeria, we plan on doing so much on creating more awareness about these SDGs, and apart from that, for more people to also take action. Like I said, awareness comes before taking action. So we want to see how we can drive this conversation, not just here right now, take it to the least places that they know about this thing. Because yes, for example, we take it to a community, for example, they might not really understand what we are saying right now. But imagine we organize an exhibition in a rural environment. We don't really need to say anything, but a pictorial exhibition of what the SDG is all about. Like, we've passed that message to them and they are left to take action. So these are little ways of, like, imagine having an exhibition, for example, in one of the IDP camps about SDGs. This will really pass that that message to them, because photography as a tool literally speaks all languages. Anybody around the world can understand a picture. So if anybody around the world can understand a picture, not everybody can understand what we are conversing, right? Like what we're saying right now. But when we pass, a visual representation of, what the SDGs, are all about and how we can achieve these SDGs, I believe that will really go a very long way in achieving these sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Wow, guys, in the comment section, please, I need the thumbs up, I need the claps, I need to see them. Real quick again, just before I address Iyene's question, please, in the comment section, if you have a question, put the capital letter Q, a hyphen, and then write your question. I'm going to take that again. Put the capital letter Q and a hyphen, then write your question, so we can differentiate it from other comments and we can share with our amazing speakers here. Inyena, I like that you addressed awareness and taking action. And I'm going to talk about a personal experience as well. I do volunteering big time in Nigeria, and I am always attracted to organizations where I see what they do. And by seeing, I mean their photography, their videos are the things that I see that makes me attracted and want to work with them or support the work that they're doing. If they don't have photographs of their work or videos, as it were, I will not see or know about them. So I like that you mentioned awareness, which is visibility, and then visibility can drive them to taking action. That is the power of visual communication that photography brings to sustainable development goals and helping us achieve it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Inyene, for that. I think that you really addressed that. Dr. Oluwaseyi, I'm going to come back to you right now because this question is centered around what you just answered a bit ago, please. I want to ask, how can nations, organizations, communities, and even we as individuals begin to make sustainable development goals that are powerful enough to transform the image of Africa? How can me personally, how can I start taking action or creating action? I like that and I'm asking you because I like that you mentioned the agenda, the framework for 2063 for Africa, juxtaposing it to the SDGs. So how can organizations, communities, and even individuals start making sustainable development goals that will be powerful enough to transform the larger picture, which is Africa?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, we all know the narrative about Africa that is out there. In fact, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, even alluded to that when he said, far too often, the world views Africa through the prism of problems. So Africa is seen as a continent of diseases, of conflict, of poverty, of hunger, of low life expectancy, of ailing democracy. Even summarize Africa as a continent of darkness, not only in terms, and they are not speaking in terms of availability of electricity. They are just talking generally that everything about Africa is not good. But that is not true. And I will want to take this from the perspective of the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. As a follow-up to what he said, that far too often the world view Africa from the prism of problems. But according to him, he said, I see Africa as a continent of hope, promise, and vast potential. Above all, according to Guterres, I am convinced that the world has much to gain from Africa's wisdom, ideas, and solutions. And when we talk of solution, we are not talking, he has not said solution preferred by the government. He said solutions. And when we talk of solutions, solutions come from people. How are you as a person trying to contribute to changing the African narratives? I will not want to go too much into some of the things he said, you know, how Africa has been at the forefront of contributing peacekeepers to UN peace operations, how Africa came together in solidarity to resolve the issue in Gambia at a time. He talked about him even traveling to Africa, and then what he saw was not the picture that is out there. So how do we change the narrative? For me, I would say, if you, I want to come from the perspective of a Yoruba proverb that says, it will be, is a literal translation. So pardon me if you find it so literal. It says, if you portray your plate as a trash packer, people will never use that plate to serve food. They will use it as a packer, because you have portrayed that plate as a packer to pack trashes into the bin. So what that means is that is whatever way you describe the African continent, it is the way you present your country, Nigeria, that others will see and take it. Government alone cannot reframe the African narratives. Government roles are just catalytic. Africans and only Africans could, and you can in your own space. So how do you portray Nigeria or Africa in your own space? On many occasions, people will say, who did this to us? I see that on social media. Who caused us? You know, all these are, they are not good narrative. Only in Nigeria, I see that often when they are trying to make comments on certain things that is happening, whether political, economic, or social. They say only in Nigeria. Who did this to us? Who caused us? These are not good narratives, because you never can tell where all this will go to. In the advanced countries, that thing you are saying only in Nigeria, let me tell you, it's not only in Nigeria. It's just that in other countries, perhaps they have systems, a better institutional framework to address those social ills. It's not that there is no corruption in the advanced countries. Of course, the corruption is there, and big time, I tell you. Not only in Nigeria, it's just that the system has been strengthened, strong enough to respond and to address some of those issues. You open international marks. I'm sorry to use the example of of a country. If you are looking for the photograph of New York, you are most likely to see the photograph of Manhattan, where you have the skyscrapers, the areas that never sleeps. So you are not likely to see those downtown where I've been to a part of that state, where the way we have people transacting businesses under the bridges is the way it is there. But you are not likely to find that readily accessible. So how do you portray your country? How do you portray the African nation, even within your space? I'm not saying you cannot use photography or your space or your platforms to draw attention of the authorities to social ills. That is one of the responsibility of every citizen. Yes, you can use it, and it is also encouraged. Use your platform to bring up issues or cases to the attention of the authority with a view to addressing them by the authorities. So that is perfect, but don't deride your country. Don't bring down your country. Don't bring down the African continent. I don't know how many Nigerians see Africa as a tourist destination. I don't know how many Nigerians see, even many Nigerians have not even explored 1% of the country. Yet they don't know that there are very beautiful places where you can have vacation.
Exactly.
Even
yes, sir.
Even in Nigeria. So photography is a veritable tool of changing or reframing the African narratives. It is is a veritable tool. More so, when people say a photograph, speaks more than 1,000 words. We know that narrative is also changing, but it's whatever you portray out there that people we aspire to see, that we go into the subconscious mind of the people, and that we fuel the belief and the countenance of people about that country or that continent that have been so portrayed. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Awesome. It's like you are coming to give us a template with regards to the SDGs today. You came prepared and packed, and I'm so here for that. I'm all for that. Thank you so much, Dr. Oluwaseyi. So real quick, there's a question that is asking about the 7 framework, the framework that you mentioned earlier. Don't worry, before we end, he's going to mention it again. Don't forget, use the Q sign, a hyphen, or a colon, and then ask your question so we can differentiate it from other questions. There's a question here that says, what of someone that takes nature pictures? Yeah. I think the same applies. I think the same rule applies. Thank you so much, Dr. Seyi. So I'm going to come to you, Mr. Fatodu. Are you there? Are you with us? Can you hear me loud and clear, Mr. Fatodu? Can you unmute yourself, please, so you can hear me, Mr. Fatodu? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so real quick, since I think you can barely hear me. Okay, you're back, you're here. I can hear you loud and clear. Kindly unmute yourself, please. Awesome. He's actually on his way to carry out another action based on the SDGs, and he's still here joining us. Amazing, man. Thank you so much for being here with us. So please unmute yourself so you can answer my question. So my question to you is, how can the achievement of these goals affect us positively? I like that Dr. Seyi has already mentioned that the goals, while we're achieving the goals, we're doing it for future generations. Now, my question to you, Mr. Fatodu, is how can the achievement of these goals affect us positively as Africa as a whole? You have the floor, Mr. Fatodu. Okay, I'm guessing there's just a little network jam there because I can barely hear you. But real quick, I'll just go to, can you hear me now? Okay, we can barely hear you. It is the network again. Not to worry. I'm sure that it's going to get better. Maybe where you are or something. It's obviously going to get better. Inyane, I'm going to come to you just before Doctor. We try and fix. Can you hear me now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, Mr. Fatodu, I can hear you now.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm really so struggling. I've got about 4
Please,
gadgets here on the
please.
move that
Yeah,
I'm
we're
putting
more than
together, so
happy
I
to
can
have you. We know you
be
are
part
doing
of
this
this.
for the SDGs.
Yeah,
Please go on, sir. Did you hear
yeah,
my question? Should I take it again?
exactly. This, yeah, I heard it. This is actually a session that should not be missed. I know the passion of Yeme. I know the contribution of Dr. Sheyi over the years in this space. And it's actually our duty to continue to take the front seat in this kind of engagement and discussion. I was going to allude to what Dr. Sheyi was saying earlier, about our own responsibility. I think responsibility and optimism are critical elements in patriotism. We have seen a lot of things happening in many of these revered and respected Western countries. Very recently, the pictures, let me use the pictures that created some sort of, strenuous narrative about the condition of, one of the respected Western nations. The picture of the black man that was held down by law enforcers, in America. That speaks so much about some of these issue of sustainable development goals that we are talking about. This event of today and our efforts has got so much to do towards the realization of the sustainable development goals. I'll give you a picture. I'm going to be using picture, repeatedly because of my love and emphasis on the effort of PhotoWaka. You understand? We are talking about reframing narratives. We are talking about how picture can speak thousands of words, and how picture can also be a source of attraction to us as a nation. Look at the Koyi Lekki Link Bridge. The other time the billionaire owner of Facebook came to Nigeria, he was jogging on that, bridge, and the picture went around, and everybody was saying that, oh, look at this guy in this space. Is this Lagos? Is this Nigeria? Is this Africa? That is the kind of picture. That is the kind of narrative we are talking about in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of social inclusion, that are very well suited in the sustainable development goals. And that is the commitment the governor of Lagos State and Lagos State as a government, is consistently leading, particularly in its agenda, in its development agenda, that is codenamed themes: traffic management and transportation, health and education, making Lagos a 21st century economy, entertainment and tourism, security and governance. These are part of the element that we are mainstreaming in our SDGs agenda. So the world can see the picture that we are selling, we are portraying, contrary to the picture of farming, contrary to the picture of abject poverty, contrary to the picture of people living on trees. Now we are leading the narrative from the perspective of PhotoWaka, that is moving from one angle to another, looking at one of the best angles, shots that can capture the story of Africa very effectively, and that can showcase to the world that we are capable of addressing our issues. And the best person to tell your story is yourself. So now is actually the time to use all our elements that we have to tell our story, the element of sustainable development goals, the element of good
Yes, Dr.
The
Patojo, I
element
can
shaping,
hear you.
you know, coming with so many initiatives to address some of our development challenges. So I believe that going forward, that we have tremendous impacts in the kind of life we want to live. In our effort towards eradicating poverty, the narrative will be improved. In our effort towards encouraging gender parity or gender equality, those are the stories that we put out. We have as we speak right now, is a lady that is moderating this event, and she's doing it very well. That's part of the messages that we are putting out there. You know, women are not sitting in a corner or permanently in the kitchen or in the bedroom. They are influencers, they are opinion shapers, they are policy makers. Those are the narratives that we want to elevate from the perspective of sustainable development goals. And I believe that with that, the world can write different stories from the perspective of what we are doing. So that is the impact that sustainable development can
Awesome,
make.
awesome. Just before I leave you, Mr. Leko, because I liked the angle you came from. So, and I also want to enlighten everybody that is just joining us. This is Mr. Leko Patodu is our facilitator speaking now, and he is the SSA to the Lagos State Government on the Sustainable Development Goals. So, sir,
Thank you.
how can we measure our progress and achievements with regards to the sustainable development goals? I like the angle that you came from just now. But then, how do we measure our progress? Because it's as if there are so many non-profit social enterprises out there doing a lot of work. Your commission is doing a lot of work as well. But then, how do we measure our impact and our achievements, please?
Okay, thank you very much. I know that there are so many instruments and tools of performance and progress measurements. That is why even the Sustainable Development Goals have many indicators so as to show the proportion of, for instance, people who were not in school before that are in school today. Some of the tools that we can deploy is to spend money more, to deploy more resources on research and development, such that we can have measurable, achievements in measurable results from some of our efforts. Let me give you an instance. I think we have about 45 ministers at the federal level. We have about 360 House of Reps members. We have about 109 senators. In the Senate, there are about 7 female senators. I'm just giving you, an idea around some of these indicators and measurements and how a country can, an institution of government can change narrative and can help to improve the quality of their effort towards attaining a certain goal. In the House of Reps, there are about 12 out of 360. There's no need going back to the federal government. But in Lagos State, we have over 15% of women dominating the cabinet right now. And we have a lot of DGs, we have a lot of representatives, and consistently, the governor is ensuring that there is a balance, there is a deliberate gender balance in our engagement, in our empowerment process to the society. Therefore, we are using that little but meaningful endeavors to measure our efforts, to track our strides, and to ensure that we are living within the dictates and the principles of the Sustainable Development Goals. Another one is the issue of immediately at the invasion of this COVID-19 pandemic, the Lagos State government came up with the initiative of Eco Excel initiative, whereby many of our teachers, many of our students, they can be digitally empowered. These are some of the things that were not there before. But right now, this is embedded in our aspiration towards attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's part of our measurement tool, and it's part of our remarkable, examples that we can use as part of our progress. I think at that level, even though some people might consider it to be still little, but I believe that it's very significant and is a model that others can copy. We have seen a lot of across state engagement between Lagos, Edo State, and other states across Nigeria, even internationally, so that the areas that we are tracking and we are measuring our advancements.
Wow, wow, wow. I like the sessions. I love this session. It's just giving me a whole lot of value. And I like that we're taking key points. And for all the sessions, we have major quotes that we have. One I heard from you is the best person to tell your story is yourself. I got that. That was very profound. Thank you so much, Mr. Leko. And very well, our distinguished guest is here, Mr. Toye Patrick Cole. Please, if you're in the comment section, I want to see the clapping. I want to see the fire, fire, fire. Right now, he's here with us, looking amazing and ever young. So every time I see you, you're always looking young. You need to give us the secret. Thank you so much for joining us. And welcome back, Dr. Oluwaseyi. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Toye, because I've been saving this question specifically for you. And you know that the topic today, we're talking about the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals in reframing Africa. Now, this question I want to ask is, what can be the possible hindrances to achieving the SDGs? I mean, Dr. Oluseyi has already talked to us about the SDGs, what they are. Mr. Fatodu as well has broken it down on the achievements and how we can measure it. But then we want to know what can be the hindrances, especially for we here in Africa, Nigeria as a focus. What can be the hindrance to achieving these goals?
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for having me. And it's such an important topic regarding narratives. And if we're going to even start on a hindrance to achieving the SDG, then the narrative of how we even say and capture the SDGs is something that must be done. I believe that one of the things that we need to do first is we have to break down the SDGs into a language that the basic, most common man would understand. The biggest hindrance is that most people, most of our population is at that level. You have the very low skilled and artisans who, if they do not, they are such a primary category of the SDGs that if they don't fit and if they don't meet the SDGs, then the SDGs can never be met. And so the biggest hindrance to me is how do you get the people to understand that the SDGs is something that is good for them? Business understands it. Business understands SDGs. They know it is actually good for them from a business perspective. Some governments understand it. They see that it's good for them if they can make it. Business understands it. Some governments understand it. But the man on the street, does he understand SDGs? Is he interested in SDGs? And it's not just in Nigeria. And I'll give you an example. So there was a day I was in New York at the United Nations, and I went into a taxi. And I asked the taxi driver about the SDGs. He had no clue. He had no idea what it was. It just was not in his reality at all. And so that conversation, from bringing it from between studios like this into the street, is something that needs to happen.
Awesome. I like how you said it. And just before that, Dr. Oluseyi had already broken it down to the layman terms, what exactly the Sustainable Development Goals are. And I like the way you even brought it, because I mean, I've joined most of your live sessions, the one with Otto and a few other persons. And I like the way you address issues, and I like the way you attacked this one right now. Dr. Oluseyi, please, I'm coming to you. I know that you're from the United Nations Information Center, but this question is very particular because even me in the social development space, I want to know, are there any specific people or organizations or bodies that should take center stage or that should shoulder the cause of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals? Because when we talk about the SDGs, some people just feel, oh, it's just the non-profit space that should be talking about it. The government doesn't have to do anything with regards to that. Corporate bodies just feel, oh, let me just do my CSR and that is it. And they just do it for doing sake because they have to do it, not because they understand the reason why they should do it. So is it that everybody should be involved, or are there specific people that should take center stage when it comes to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my mic. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, the mantra of the Sustainable Development Goals is leave no one behind. And when we say leave no one behind, we are not talking in terms of the beneficiaries. We're also talking in terms of people who are to implement this. The implementation, the design and implementations of all activities and interventions related to the SDGs must be inclusive. So we talk of inclusiveness, and the inclusiveness is at all levels of the implementation, because the framework itself, the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development as a framework in itself is an all-inclusive framework. Now, talking about who are the people that should take the center stage, I want to also underscore the fact that all sectors, from the public sector, the private sector, the civil society, the academia, even up to the individual level. You may be wondering, what is the role of the academia in the implementation and achieving of the Sustainable Development Goals? They have a great role to play. Somebody somewhere might be thinking, what is my role? It's supposed to be government. Everyone has a role to play. I give an example. Do you know that, in fact, there was a, let me put it this way, there is a research conducted by UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, on the implementation, the achievement of the SDGs, like a report. And as Lekon mentioned, there are a number of indicators. You know, we have the goals. Under the goals, we have targets. Under the targets, we have indicators. For every target, there are indicators to measure the achievement. There are some indicators that are speaking to policies. Even within the, when we talk of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, there are some targets that you don't need money to achieve. I want that to be clear, and it is important we make that clarification. There are some targets that you can achieve without spending money. So it is not about money. For instance, if you are looking at maybe after when you're trying to establish your benchmark and you're looking at the policy framework concerning, let's say, I'm just using that as an example. Let's say concerning education. I am aware there is national policy on education. Let's assume, wow.
We can hear you, sir. Please go on. Dr. Oluseyi, are you there? Okay, so can you hear me now? So
yes,
Dr. Oluseyi, I think that there is a break there. I'm going to Mr. Cole now to answer this question, and when Dr. Oluseyi is back, he's going to continue. But in the comment section, don't forget, use the Q sign, a hyphen or a colon, and ask your question. Don't just ask your question so we don't see it as a comment. Make sure that you're asking with the Q sign. So Dr. Cole, sorry, Mr. Cole, see, I'm already giving you doctor. Quick one, sir. So I know that our focus today is reframing the African narrative with regards to the Sustainable Development Goals. But what else can the SDGs do for us as Africa, as a continent? What else can this SDG do for us apart from reframing or changing the narrative or controlling the narrative? What else can the SDGs do for us?
Actually a lot. So from the first time I came across the SDGs, I fell in love with them. I fell in love with it because I saw something that simplified everything and put to words and pictures everything that we had been doing in terms of philanthropy, in terms of CSR, in terms of just business and life, whether it's academia or government. Now, what exactly do we need to do? What the SDGs does for everyone is that it actually gives you a measurable tool. It gives you something that you can measure and see where your progress is. You know where you are today, you know where you will be tomorrow. It gives you timelines to get there. As we stand right now, we know that we have up until 2030, and that's just 10 years away. 10 years away to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So you already know that if you are not doing certain things, you are going to miss it. And if you miss it, then what happens? I remember I used to say to most of the UN, and it's a pity that Dr. Lushala is gone right now, but I used to say to them that if Africa misses the SDGs, if Africa misses those goals, then the whole world has missed it. Because there's not one single of those 17 goals that Africa does not need to pay attention to. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter whether it's on zero poverty, it doesn't matter whether it's on gender equality, it does not matter what it is. You need to pay attention to every single one of them. So SDGs gives you a measurable tool. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't do very well. They don't measure. They do a lot of talking, but they don't do a lot of measuring. And governments do that as well. So the SDGs will force that to happen. And as long as we can measure, what you cannot measure, you cannot count. You cannot hold on to and say that you are doing anything true. So for me, SDGs and measurable tools, that's a game changer for us in Africa.
Wow, awesome. I like that you said the measurable tools, which is going to bring me to the next question I want to ask you. So how then do we measure our progress and our achievements with regards to this SDGs? I know I already asked Mr. Lake of Fatodu, and he already talked about measuring it, but I want to ask you, centered around what you talked about, because you said the SDG is a measurable tool that is giving you a timeline for you to achieve whatever impact you want to make. So how do we measure these impacts?
Okay, so one of the things that we discovered very, very early on is that a lot of people are doing a lot of things, but individually in silos. And as long as those things are being done in silos, you will never ever get the momentum that you want to see. So the first aspect of it is that can we create an organization or a coordinating body that collects data and information from individuals and corporates and academia and government, so that you can then put all of this together such that you begin to, you know that this is what everyone is doing. I remember setting up something called the Private Sector Advisory Group in Nigeria, where we're working with the federal government and the Office of the SDG in the presidency. We got companies together such that we had a tool that as you do your CSR, as you do your impact company-wide, you put that up on a database so that the government that is capturing its data and private sector capturing their data and individuals capturing their data, all of them together will then come to show a true picture of how you are meeting up with the SDGs. It's not gone as well as I would have liked. I think collaboration is something that is very, very difficult, and you need to ensure that you have someone who is coordinating it and pushing it. And the minute I decided to move into the political arena, that slowed down tremendously. So it was something I was pushing very hard because I believe 100% in it. But my eyes got taken away in other things, and it's not gone as well as I would have liked.
Well, I'm certain that you're back on track 100%. I mean, I started joining your live sessions, and I must say they're impactful. I usually have my notepad and pen because they're really packed with value. Thank you so much for that. Finally, Mr. Fatodu, I'm going to ask you this question, and I know I have already asked Inyene, but because we are PhotoWaka, I want to know your perspective with regards to this question. How can photography play a key role in achieving the SDGs? What's your opinion on that? Kindly unmute yourself, Mr. Lakon, please.
Thank you very much. Before I answer that, let me use this opportunity to personally thank Mr. Tony Cole for coming on this important, panel. I've met with Mr. Tony Cole a couple of times through introduction by Mr. Taufik Adegbite, the CEO of Marine Platforms, and a passionate advocate of SDGs as well. Yeah. Okay. So presently, I'm the SSA Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Sanwo-Olu, on SDGs. So this is so we combine politics and policy together towards the attainment of the SDG. So it's an opportunity for us. It's a good privilege for us actually to now use this platform provided by PhotoWaka to capture and take picture of Mr. Tony Priestfield and use the opportunity to bring him into our efforts in Lagos State. We have so many things that we are doing, and we believe that an input from somebody like him, he can't run away, to be honest. You can be in Rivers State, but you're still a Lagosian. We know your history, sir. So it's an opportunity. I'm talking from the angle of policy and politics now. And we can use this opportunity to also have somebody like you, as big as you, consistently providing insights into some of the things that we do. So to the question, EMA has actually given a resounding perspective, but let me just add that the emergence of my boss into becoming part of the results of the emergence of my governor into the seat that he occupies this way. I must tell you that photography plays a lot of role. We were actually the one in the Ikoyi office, Dr. Sheyi can remember, capturing so many pictures of how Sanwo-Olu, we developed Lagos State from the angle of themes agenda, focusing on traffic management and transportation, health and education, making Lagos a 21st century economy, and tourism and entertainment, security and governance. So we use the power of photography to change. We know a lot of things, misinformation and unpleasant narratives that were in the public place at the time. But we thought that we have a message, but we can amplify that message with good image. So we were consistently pushing that image to the public, that this is the man that can actually address some of the things that we want to do or the future that we look forward to as Lagosians. Part of the campaign strategy was for us to create an SDGs unit. By that time, I went to the United Nations office to meet with Mr. Shoremeku and other individuals over there. And immediately the man going to the office, he created the office of the SDG, and I was privileged to be appointed as his SSA, and I had another individual, a lady, as the SA, and we have been working consistently around that subject. And he is always informing us that we have a story to tell, and we must take the opportunity to own our story and put it in the appropriate, section and well in the public, so that people can know that we are actually the owner of our story. So on that basis, I believe that photography has got a lot to do in framing our narrative and effectively telling our story. Thank you very much.
Wow, awesome. There's one thing I want everybody listening and watching right now to learn from what just happened. Networking is inevitable. You can connect with anybody anywhere. He shot. So shoot your shot. In the comment section, be shooting your shot if you see anybody. We have amazing people right now. I got that. So thank you so much for saying that. And with regards to what you said, there was a quote that Dr. Olu Sheyi mentioned earlier. He said, whatever you portray is what people will aspire to. That was one quote, very profound, that I got from Dr. Olu Sheyi, and you also reiterated that just now. So real quick, I'm coming to you, Dr. Olu Sheyi. Your final words for young people, because if we want to be truthful, the young people are the one that can really help us achieve these SDGs. And I was saying earlier that I like to join Mr. Cole's live session because he's always talking about how young people can start creating a change. So in your opinion, Dr. Olu Sheyi, what do you think that young people should start doing at this point in time? I mean, I'm aware, we are all aware of COVID-19 happening, but what should young people start doing to achieve the SDGs for us and for the future generation?
Thank you very much. May I also add my voice to the very distinguished presence of one of the prime drivers of the PSAG, Mr. Tonyeko, that's a private sector advisory group. The SDGs, as we are pushing in Nigeria, cannot succeed without the very important contribution of the private sector. And he mentioned something about the CSR and all that. I know they are trying to align and realign that aspect, and we are quite happy about what the PSAG is doing. Thanks so much, sir. Talking about the young people and what they can do, as I was trying to say before I had a technical hitch, it is important that everyone, whether youth or old, or young or old, needs to do something. There is something to do by every individual. As for the youth, this is an opportunity. SDGs as a development framework is a great opportunity for youth to key into it, because for the next 10 years we are talking about this. I'm expectant of a situation where we have so many youth creating social enterprises. Social enterprise is fine. We've seen people taking used auto tires off the streets. They are contributing to SDGs, and they are also making money. That's a social enterprise. People are taking plastic, reusable, single-use plastic out of the drainages. That is an individual contribution, because if you look at various aspects of the SDGs, we take the issue of the life underwater, for instance, and as the Secretary General of the UN said, that if we don't do anything, if we are not deliberate in taking plastics out of the ocean, but to start with out of the streets, out of the drainages, to the river, to the ocean, by 2050, there will be more plastics in the ocean than the fish. So how will the succeeding generation survive if there are more plastics in the ocean than fish? So every individual has a role to play. Even if we talk of education, what role can you play in the area of education? You are a young man, a young woman. What role can you play? We are talking of learning environment. We are talking of gender parity in enrollment and school completion. You as a young parent, what are you doing with your boy, with your girl? Are they going to school? Are you treating them equally? Even those people, I tell you, because many people don't read the targets. If you go under the education, I know one youth who was, or rather, who is pushing for, for pushing scholarship opportunities out there for people, for young graduates, for undergraduates. What her page, her site does is looking for opportunities, educational opportunities, scholarship opportunities across the world, putting them together. It's one of the targets, but many don't know. And of course, she will make money. So individual action is important, and it's one of the 3 pillars of the decade of action. How we mobilize individual for action. So youth should look to play within the framework of SDGs, not only to support the society, to also support themselves.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Oluseyi Shoremeko. That was very profound. I like that you hit the nail right on the head. Iyene, I'm coming to you now. My final question to you. What do you think young people, and I like the fact that you are young and you are the organizer of this amazing event. What do you think we young people should start doing to achieve the SDGs?
All right, thank you very much, Toby. I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate Mr. Tony Cole for honoring our invite. We understand how tight your schedule is, and we are really, really honored. Thank you so much, sir. Before I go back to the question, I also want to touch on a few things amiable speakers have mentioned. Mr. Tony Cole mentioned something about collating data, organization, platform collating data and everything. And we mentioned this on Monday when this summit started, that we don't just want to stop this conversation here alone about reframing the African narrative. We want to take it further because one of the things we've also mentioned here is about telling our stories ourselves, owning our platform ourselves. Because just as one of our speakers mentioned on Monday, that you can't know my house more than me. You can't tell the story of my family more than me, So one of the things PhotoWaka want to do is to also create a platform where we own our stories. Okay, for example, now PhotoWaka is planning on launching the African kind of Shutterstock. You're looking for authentic African stories. You don't need to go to Shutterstock. These are the Western world's platform, owning our stories, pushing our stories out there, still making money from our creatives. So this is going to be a platform for African creative and for the world entirely. By African creative, but for the world entirely. And through this, we are targeting so many of the SDGs. We are ending poverty because it's going to empower young and professionals in the creative sector. We are ending hunger. We are infrastructure, community engagement, and all. So we want to own that space and tell our stories ourselves. And that's also one, hence for that, what we plan on doing after this summit. So this is something that we can't do on our own. Definitely, we are so proud about our partnership with the United Nations Nigeria. We are looking forward to, I will also use the opportunity to shoot our shot on behalf of PhotoWaka. We also use the opportunity to reach out to Lagos State government through Mr. Lekon and our amiable father here, Mr. Tony Cole, because we believe through partnership, which is also part of the SDGs, that we can do much more. We can do much more through these platforms. So going back to your question, how young people can take hold of taking actions towards achieving these SDGs. I believe we shouldn't see ourselves as young in quotes, because we can do so much more. We have the power. I'm so proud of my friend Toby here. Like she's doing amazing things, and beyond her age, she's doing amazing things, and that's these are the things that drives us. We are driven by the future we want to see. So for young people, I believe we should look beyond our present state, be it government, be it personal life or anything, but we should look beyond our present state and try to see how can we leave our footprint behind. Look beyond ourselves also, because how can we do something that even after us, these legacies will still be alive. So I think we should look beyond ourselves as young people. Look beyond yourself. Think about impact. No matter how little it is. I remember how we started PhotoWaka 2 years ago. It wasn't like we wanted to impact Africa. We started with our from our little communities from the streets in Lagos State. Now we've covered Nigeria. Now we are dealing with Africans. So no matter how little it is, just start and think about impact. So I think that's one of the things I will also want to share to younger generations, to think about impact-driven thoughts. Thank you very much.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Inyene. I like that you mentioned specifically think beyond yourself. You can be working locally but have a global mindset.
Yeah.
That's globalization. Thank you so much, Inyene. Mr. Lekofa, to do same question to you. For sake of time, we're going to leave this around 1 minute, if you don't mind, please. So, what do you think young people should start doing to really reframe the African narrative?
Thank you very much. I think I'm just going to add a little bit to what the comment made by Yemen. That's really fantastic. I think there should be the young people should be born. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Hello. I
Loud and
think
clear, loud and clear.
young people should be more passionate, because to be honest with you, I've never seen the kind of passion that came out of the organization of this thing pre and during the events, how you guys were reaching out, how you guys were constantly keeping us updated, how you guys were ensuring that every step we take is in the direction of PhotoWaka. That's one of the things that account for success. We have read a lot of story about people, how they achieve, how they attain, successes. It's not always a walk in the park. So they need to demonstrate more action. They need to galvanize, like minds in achieving some of their goals. Your colleague just alluded to the way you have been presenting. I was even going to ask, until you introduce yourself as a lawyer, maybe you've had a stint in journalism or broadcasting and all that. So that's part of the things that we expect to see, moving forward. And we know that a lot of Nigerian youths, they have the capacity, they have the energy, and they have the resources. And right now, there is growing intergenerational engagement. You see the assemblage of people on this panel. That is to let you know that, there is no distance between the young and the old anymore. We are all interconnecting and interrelating in a way that we can achieve greater success. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for that. And finally, my final question to Mr. Tonyeko, the same question. What do you think we young people should start doing differently? I mean, we've been doing a lot, but what should we start doing differently for what we have been doing in the past? Kindly unmute your mic, sir.
Yeah. So now that you threw in the word differently, you've now thrown everything upside down. But look, but having said that, yes, truly you've done a lot, and I think the only challenge that you have, right, which you must take and hold on to, is the belief that I see from a lot of young people today that they are not in a position to be in power, that they're not in a position today to be in the decision-making space. They see it as something for the 70-year-olds, 60-year-olds, and that is far, far, far out of their reach. Believe me, it's not out of your reach. And I need for that mindset to change. I need for the young people to believe in themselves as decision makers and nation builders, and begin to hold on to the fact that within the next 10 years, they would be in positions of power. Within the next 20 years, they would be the ones who are running things in the country. And I'm speaking to the 20 and 30-year-olds today. It's not that far away. By the time 2030 comes up and the SDG targets are met, you would have a totally different continent and a different type of Nigeria by then. So are you playing an active part in making sure that that happens? Now think about it. If the SDGs are met in 2030, and then it means that the way things are being done today is not how things will be done in 10 years' time, which means that you will be playing a very, very vital role in the kind of decisions and the type of nations, whether it's technology, whether it's in women, whether it's in children, whether it's in food, whatever it is. Even they talked about plastic in water and all of that. So cleanliness, environment, you would have a totally different country. Now, what are you doing about that 10 years from now today? But not in the things that you do. What are you doing in terms of positioning yourself to be nation builders and decision makers at the highest level of government in 10 years' time? That's really what you need to be thinking about. And once you can think differently about that and you can actually see yourself in a position of power, you can see yourself in a position of power in the next 10 years, then you know one thing is sure. Whatsoever you can imagine and you can see, you can become. So begin to imagine it, begin to see it, begin to believe it, and then you can become it. And that for me is what young people need to do today.
Wow. Wow. Are you guys listening? Mass dose of value coming from left and right. Awesome. I really love that. So in 10 seconds, I'm going to give everybody on here, our amazing and distinguished speakers, 10 seconds. What do you think young people that are on here should take away in 10 seconds? It might be a quote, whatever it is you want them to take away, or something you want to tell them that must stick in their head. Say, you must hear word. So what is it you want to say? Just before we come to you, Dr. Oluseyi, I want to appreciate everybody in the comment sections. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for joining us. I see your comments. I see your questions. And most of the questions we have answered already. If you want to go through this again, it's going to be on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel. The replay is going to be there for you to watch. We addressed every question that I see on here. I'm going to come to you now, Dr. Oluseyi Soronmeko, please. In 10 seconds, please. What do you think people on here should take away from this session?
Thank you very much. What I will say is that according to Huffington Post, as much as 8 of the 10 businesses that will thrive in the year 2030 have not been created. I say that again. By 2030, some of the businesses that will be thriving, about 8 of them have not been created as we speak. Yeah. And 2030 is just 10 years away. So my charge to the young people is for them to begin to look at how they can use technology to drive drive some of these SDGs. Not even to, maybe that is too strategic in terms of thought. How you can create things, use innovation to solve certain problems, even within your space, within your community, because it's not the future is knowledge driven. It's not going to be as usual that I want to do this. It's not the way we are doing things now. And if you are not thinking beyond what is operational now, then as a young person, then you will find it difficult in 10 years' time. So,
wow, thank you.
I want our young people who are listening to be part of those people that we create those 8 jobs, 8 businesses that will be driving the future in year 2030.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, in the comment section, please, I want to be seeing your round of applause for our amazing speaker, Dr. Oluseyi Soronmeko. He's a PhD holder, so you can tell he's a man of many words. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your charge, which is very, very important at this point in time. I'm coming to you now, Mr. Fatodu. In 10 seconds, please, your final charge, your final words for young people on this platform. Kindly unmute yourself, please.
Great. Let me just go straight to it. I need to emphasize it that despite the challenges, Nigeria in particular, is a land of opportunity. But if you don't chase it, if you don't struggle for it, if you don't fight for it, it's going to be difficult for you to track it. That is it. I used to be in the UK before when I was coming to Nigeria, tracking people like Mr. Toyin Cole, engaging Mr. Taufik Adegbite, and many of them. After some time, I became so uncomfortable. I picked up a position to contest for the Lagos State House of Assembly. And guess what? In Mushin won. I was living in the Lupe before going to London. And everybody was saying, how would you come from London and want to contest in Mushin? I said, I have a future here. I need to sit on the decision-making table. I need to engage with people like Mr. Gani Solomon, Senator Gani Solomon, Dr. Muiz, Dr. Muiz Banire. They were all educated. They were this, they were that. After those people, I don't want the decision of my, immediate community in Nigeria to be decided by some, funny characters. And I started from there. And politically, here I am now. I don't know where I'm still going, but I'm still tracking it. So that is the journey and that is the story. Thank you very much.
Awesome. You are a shoot the shot guy. We're coming to you for networking lessons. Okay, Inyene, quick one in 10 seconds. Give every young person or everybody here a chart what you want them to take away from this session.
All right, thank you very much. Without wasting so much time, I want to say that for we young people, I think whatever we do, I think we should think greatness. While thinking greatness, I think we should now enjoy the process, because most times we are kind of in a haste towards, like, we are running in the wrong direction, running so fast in the wrong direction. We just want things to happen immediately. Yes, but in as much as we are thinking greatness, in as much as we are walking in that path of greatness, we should also try to enjoy the process. We shouldn't try to push ourselves too much as we want to, we are gazing at the prize ahead and everything. Just enjoy the process. Thank you very much.
Awesome. I like that you mentioned gazing at the prize. And the truth is, you might not reach that prize, but you're paying it forward for future generation. And last but not the least, obviously, Mr. Tonye Cole, your final words to us, please.
Okay, so yeah, where that big business understand that the SDG is good for business. So if they all know that the SDGs actually help them to become a lot more profitable, then I would advise you to look at the SDGs not just as a number and a one pretty document, but actually go select the one that works for you and begin to apply it into your business. And I can assure you, or let me just change that, apply it into your life. And I can assure you that which big business and government saw that has made them much more profitable when they've applied the SDG would also apply to you. You can't go wrong with it. It actually makes a lot of sense. Use it for yourself.
Wow, you can tell a fantastic politician from that resounding final speech. Big round of applause to our amazing speakers that we've had here today. I have had so much fun. I have learned. You saw me writing and scribbling real fast as they were speaking. Thank you so much. We've had quotes, amazing quotes from Dr. Olusheyi. He said, whatever you portray is what people will aspire to. That caught my attention and I had to take it down. As well as Mr. Toye Cole said, we should fall in love with the SDGs. When he said that, because he said when he came across the SDGs, he fell in love with it. So my charge for you is to fall in love with the SDGs. Mr. Leko Patodu also said, the best person to tell your story is yourself, which is very, very important. And then Inyene also talked about thinking global, but making sure that you're doing the work locally. So thank you so much for being a part of this session today. I want to remind everybody on here that we have an evening session, which is a party after party. For us to round up these amazing sessions that we've had so far, we have a DJ, an in-house DJ that is going to be DJing for us as well. And we would also be announcing the winners of our food photography competition. We had a contest, and we'll be announcing the winners at 5 p.m. today. Don't forget, bring your friends. There'll be small chops. Don't worry, virtual small chops. We will be having an amazing session, and it will be fun. So right now, I know that you guys are just learning. We are adding learning to fun as well, just like Mr. Patodu said that we're combining politics and policy to achieve the sustainable development goals. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the entire PhotoWaka team for putting together this amazing event for young people to learn, to interact, and to grow as well. Big shout out to every of our speakers that are here. Mr. Toye Cole, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. Especially the SSA to the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Patodu, thank you so much for your time. You were in transit all through, but you were making sure, I was doing. Thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Olusheyi, the man of many words, but you must listen because he has so much value to offer. Thank you so much. And to Inyene, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for putting this together. And to all our distinguished special guests in the comment section, and for those that weren't commenting, but you joined and you were listening, thank you so much for being here. I have had an amazing time. And don't forget, my name is Gussie Toby Lord Williams, but you can call me Lord T. I've had an amazing time, and I hope you have too. Quickly make sure that you take a screenshot or you snap your laptop and post on your social media what you learned about this session. Very important. Make sure to tag at PhotoWaka. I will personally be reposting from everybody. Make sure to tag PhotoWaka, tag Tonyeko, his handle is Tonyeko, tag Inyene, tag, everybody has their names on social media and it's the same as well. So please make sure that you tag us something that you have learned. If it's a quote or something you learned specifically from any of our speakers or generally, please post it on your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any platform, even LinkedIn. We are there across all platforms and we will be reposting whatever it is that you post about the session. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Don't forget, see you at 5 p.m. where we'll be turning up together. I cannot even wait. I was even turning up before now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'll be expecting the virtual.
Bonito,